Hey everybody, Chuck Barone here. It is Wednesday, September the 27th, 2023, and the market today was a weird one, man. Did you guys watch any of this stuff today? Crazy markets, man. Oil now the headliner, and the market's not liking it very much. But before I get rolling, let me take a second and welcome everybody to the show. And as always, thank you guys for your support, man. You guys keep coming back, keep watching these videos. We're going to keep making them. We appreciate you guys. Your support means everything to us, guys. All right, anyway, let's talk about these markets. So rates, as you know, driving this market crazy. But the market actually is still buying into this idea that rates are coming down soon. Now oil, the new terror. Oil jumping today pretty dramatically. Getting up now. The talk that I'm hearing is $100 oil coming any minute. So the market not liking that very much at all. So with rate fears, now this oil spike, the stock market today moved sideways pretty much. The Dow falling just 68 points, sitting at 33,550. The S&P up just under 1 point, 4274. The NASDAQ at up 29 points, 13,092, so a big nothing burger in the markets. I think they're waiting for some big data to come along. We got some stuff today, durable goods, not good. PMI, Chicago PMI, not good. Philly, everything coming out pretty negative, at least the economic stuff today. But the big thing, the big talk is those two. It's oil and interest rates. Bond market continuing its crater today. Rates spiking up. You have the 10-year sitting at 4.62%, up 6 basis points. The 2-year 5.13%, also up 6 basis points. So the bond market just crazy, rates continuing to climb. The market understanding now the situation we're in. Let's think about this for a second, guys, okay? You have inflation going back up. You have still a hot jobs market, which we know the Fed hates. The PPI was horrible. So you got prices moving the wrong way, right? And the bond market still buying into the bond market. I shouldn't say the bond market because they're certainly suffering, but Wall Street believes rate cuts are coming. There's no more hikes. The hikes are all done. Who really believes that, man? I don't know. I was listening to a podcast this morning. It was very interesting. The podcaster was talking about how the media and the politicians don't get it. You know, they're wondering why Biden isn't getting any credit for his, the great economy we have. And there's just the disconnect they're dealing with from, us guys, the working people out here who are living in this world. We don't have government checks rolling in. And the price increases that we've been feeling now for about more longer than 18 months, a year and a half, it's just all starting to pile up. There's like inflation's down to 3%. Well, that's true, but it's still up the 10% plus the 3%, right? I mean, it's just like, so you see these prices, and that's why the economy sucks. Consumers really, really, really having difficulty keeping up with everything now. Doing most of them, I shouldn't say most, a lot of them, taking the wrong path and bringing on more debt on themselves, trying to maintain a lifestyle. And we're going to suffer for it, man. So the bond market reflecting that. The dollar today up again. The dollar just surging, sitting at 106.72 on the index. Looks like it's going to threaten 107. There's really, what's going to stop it right now? Who knows? But the dollar's super strong. And as a result, man, not a great day for gold and silver today. Gold falling $24.50, pretty big decline. Sitting at $1,875.90 for an ounce of gold. Silver falling 30 cents, $22.53 for an ounce of silver. So metal's taking a little bit of a smackdown today. It's really interesting though, because with the dollar up, it usually knocks commodities prices down, right? So gold showing that effect and that phenomenon endlessly. But look at oil today. So oil today jumping $3.35 per barrel. Now sitting at $93.74 for a barrel of West Texas Intermediate. Outrageous price. And there it is. That's the punch in the gut the market took today. What's fascinating though is oil going up with the dollar. Going up with the dollar. So if this dollar starts to come down, what's going to happen to oil prices then? So get ready, guys. You know, this whole hybrid electric car idea is starting to sound a little better to me, because paying these gas prices, not a lot of fun. And looks like we're not out of the woods here yet by a long shot, as oil prices just continue to rise. And like I said, I've been hearing a lot of talk, chatter, reading. Everybody's talking. It's going to become a self-fulfilling prophecy ultimately here. We're going to see $100 a barrel for oil. Bitcoin today down very small, just down $23 for Bitcoin, 26,215. Actually holding up pretty strong in the face of all of this. The Bitcoin's been moving with the markets, and certainly not moving with commodities, moving with the stock market, interestingly. And the market had much of a nothing day, and so did Bitcoin. All right, so let's take a second. Let's talk about oil. Oil now up 26% just in this third quarter. A gigantic gain. And I'm just trying to, I guess they're saying there's huge demand. They know that the U.S. has to fill up their petroleum, the strategic petroleum reserve sooner or later. Biden sold a lot of oil out of that. They're going to have to buy oil to fill that back up. Unfortunately, the government and their traders are geniuses. It looks like they're going to have to be buying that oil back at significantly higher prices than they sold the oil for out of the strategic petroleum reserve. What's interesting, though, is oil was kind of staying static. I was talking about on the show, it seemed to be in a trough between 70 and 75 for a while. It would break out from time to time, but come right back in, settle where it was comfortable. This one obviously is something a little bit different. And it's interesting because it seems like the real rally at oil started when Saudis and Russia announced they were going to continue their production cuts. Why didn't oil spike at all when they announced the production cuts? Why, when they decided to extend them, would it spike at that time? I guess maybe they thought that once the cuts ended in a few months, that boom, production would spike right back up. Honestly, I never believe they're going to cut that much. It's too much money. So oil, though, guys, is the story of the day, the story of the week right now. And it's going to be, with an election coming up, man, high oil prices, not a good thing for the incumbent. It's going to be fascinating to watch it all. All right, so let's take a second. I want to talk today a little bit about this whole soft landing idea. Guys, please don't believe this. It's not going to happen, man. I've told you guys a million times, I make a joke of it. So when you hear the word soft landing, picture the Hindenburg exploding on when it was landing in Jersey. I mean, that's what this soft landing is going to look like. Who really believes that we're not heading toward a recession right now? Look at some of the stuff we're dealing with, guys. Okay? You have high interest rates choking off the consumer and everything else. You have big inflation still and moving in the wrong direction from 3 to 3.2 to 3.7. But that's on top of the gains from last year, right? So now you're looking at just big numbers, and those numbers are being felt by consumers. Add on, now you got a government shutdown coming. You got auto strikes. You're going to have, here in Vegas, the culinary is going to strike. 45 or 50,000 people are going to go out and strike and paralyze the hotels in this town. You have election year coming up, which always brings on the crazy. And if we're going to have a rematch between Trump and Biden, that's going to get extra crazy. You got oil prices going up through the roof. Geopolitical stuff. Look at what's going on in the world, man. You got wars. You got big recession stuff going to happen around the world. It looks like the Eurozone could hit recession. It looks like China, some places in Asia. You got the bond market here in the U.S. continuing to just crash, crash, crash. You got commercial real estate about to fall completely. It's going to be like 2008 in residential real estate is what we're looking at in 2023 in commercial real estate. It's just going to be a giant, giant disaster, guys. Commercial real estate. So now that puts big pressure on the small banks. Okay, is there going to be some kind of bailout coming when these banks crash out? Because they've already got all of their collateral. You know, they were buying bonds, and now those bonds are just tanking in value, getting killed. Now you're going to add them some gigantic losses, and that's not going to add up to very good news with banks. And what about the government? Where are they going to find the money now to do these kind of bailouts? They're already completely saturating the bond market with the demands they're making on these treasuries, right? You got massive government borrowing, completely saturating the bond market, putting more pressure on rates because there's just more, you know, it's simple supply and demand, right? And you got this much supply and this much demand, prices got to come down to create more demand till you find your equilibrium there. So the bond market a mess and the government not helping things out. You got real wages falling for consumers, down 0.5% just in August, right? You got record levels of debt everywhere, everywhere. Federal government, state governments, municipal governments, businesses, consumers. I mean, it's just all done. It's all, everybody, up to their eyeballs in debt, right? Now, the entire world, right now, revolves around cheap money. The whole thing is set up now like cheap money's forever. Nothing is set up to work with rates where they are. The government, borrowing money by the trillions of dollars, going to pay way more exorbitant rates. So their model of being able to, you know, spend way more money than they bring in, well, that's great when interest rates are 0. Not so great at 5. Right? You got businesses borrowing money because it's free. Municipalities up to their eyeballs. Consumers used to super low rates. Not happening anymore, man. So all of this stuff, everything, set up around cheap money. So now, how's everybody going to adapt to the new reality we're in where money is expensive? Where saving is encouraged and borrowing is discouraged because of the penalty of the pain of the payment, right? So in the face of all this, right? In the face of all this, they want to tell us that they're going to pull off this perfect soft landing and everything's going to just be wonderful. Inflation's going to go away. We're not going to have any recession. We're not going to have job losses and no pain. Who believes this fairy tale, man? On this podcast, he was talking, he said the Fed has a tracking device to track deficits and national debt. And he was saying that the national debt, as estimated by the Federal Reserve, will be $44 trillion in 2027. So we're figuring on tacking on $11 trillion of new debt by 2027. They're talking, at today's interest rates, $2 to $3 trillion a year in payments, in interest payments. Well, the government only brings in $4 trillion. They spend almost $1 trillion on the military. You take in $2 to $3 trillion on debt, there's nothing left. There's nothing left for anything else. Reality's a bitch sometimes, guys. And it's time to pay the band. You know, we had the party. All the booze is gone. Everything's winding down. The sun's coming up through the blinds. It's time to pay. That's what we're going into, man. So don't you buy this soft landing stuff. Listen to this. I was reading this article today. It's 60% of Americans now living paycheck to paycheck. Real wages falling. Listen to this, guys. Of people making less than $50,000 a year, which is the majority. And people, the median household income, they said, is around $76,000. That's with 2 people working. So people under 50K, 76% living paycheck to paycheck. 76%. People making between $50,000 and $100,000 per year. Okay, so this is the more solid middle class, right? 62% living paycheck to paycheck. And people making over $100,000 per year, 45% living paycheck to paycheck. When you hear paycheck to paycheck, guys, what that means is no savings. 1 or 2 missed paychecks away from disaster. That's the percentages we're looking at. So tell me more about this happy ending. Anyway, guys, sorry to be a neg today. That's it. Tomorrow, big data we'll be talking about. I'm sure the markets are going to be rocking tomorrow. As always, we appreciate your support. If you could hit the like button, we'd appreciate it. It helps the algorithms, gets our video out in front of a few more people. As always, hit me up with your questions, comments. We'll be back tomorrow to bring you guys the news you need. Till then, guys, take care. Thanks.